Sharkie Gamer here. So today we're going to take a look at yet another PlayStation VR game. This time we're going to take a look at Scavengers Odyssey, a game that's included on the PlayStation VR Worlds collection. Now Scavengers Odyssey, you're basically playing an alien that's driving a spider mech, and he's basically in this like asteroid field, and there's a bunch of wrecked spaceships, and he's trying to find this lost artifact. So it's all set in space, it's pretty cool looking. And this is quite intense VR, so a lot of movement in this one. So, let's get to it. Okay, so today we're going to take a look at Scavengers Odyssey. So this is a game set in space where you're driving a spider mech. So let's get into it. So we're only going to play maybe the first level. So let's start it. Just trying to remember the controls again. That's right. Okay.
For too long you have traveled alone, pilgrim. Soon you will find your way home.
So we're just going to play the beginning of this game because I don't really want to spoil the story of it, because I actually quite like Scavengers Odyssey.
Nav point reached. Dropship slowing to sublight speeds. Cryogenic systems disengaged. Initiating suspended animation revival protocols.
So it looks pretty awesome. You're in this mech, and as you move,
AI symbiosis.
your arms move,
Merging of pilot and craft AI.
and as you move the sticks, your hands in the game move, and as you press the buttons, your fingers press it.
Activating Mark IV Scavenger Craft. Analyzing pilot DNA for identification. Species 68% median, 32% race unknown. Classification underbreed. Number 169QR. Status fugitive anarchist. Pilot symbiosis with AI complete. Welcome back, Scavenger. Looks like we're really going looting in the Forbidden Belt. By all reports, the artifact we're hunting is believed to be here. Every damn lead we follow points to this perilous location. Our dealers all lined up, offering more credit than we'd ever see in 100 life cycles. All we gotta do is find it. Request dropship release holding clamps. Prepare to disembark on landing. Whoa! Dropship's taking damage.
So the ship's falling apart at the moment.
The clamp's release mechanism's fused solid. We're gonna have to shoot our way out. Bringing weapons online. Take out those consoles and the clamp should auto-release.
So you kind of shoot where you aim.
Scavenger craft navigation waypoint subsystems online.
So wherever you kind of look, that's where you're shooting.
Follow it to the airlock. Move faster by holding L1 to sprint forwards. The ship's not gonna hold together for much longer. Airlock doors have taken a hit. We're sealed in. Use the energy grapple to pull the emergency bolts off the door. Cargo base integrity's been compromised. We're at zero. Brace yourself, Scavenger.
And I mean, this looks incredible.
Whoa, dropship's down. Looks like a one-way trip.
You can see these asteroids coming at you. Things breaking apart. Wreckages of ships all around you.
It's gonna be tight, but we're going right through that wreck. Wow. Surely not all these craft were just looking for an artifact. We're taking hits. Shields down to 75%.
Things coming right at you.
53%.
It's pretty cool.
Shields critical. We need a safe landing spot. Down to 26%. Landfall dead ahead. Deploying emergency thrusters to slow descent. Shields holding. Surface contact in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So it really looks
Forbidden
incredible.
belt reached. Not quite what we had in mind. Shields recharged. Now at 100%. All systems are go.
And this is a very
Follow the
movement-heavy
waypoint while I try
game.
to get a read on the artifact.
This is a very movement-heavy game. So as you can see, I'm turning, I'm moving forward, I can run. You can shoot these things. You can shoot them off into
Whoa.
space.
What is that? It's not like anything we've ever seen. Midian crazies talk of an anomaly in the center of the belt. They believe it to be sacred.
This is a very movement-intensive game.
Identifying a huge energy source. It's emanating from the horizon point. Sensing disruption to the pilot AI symbiotic link. Stay with me, Scavenger.
In the beginning, there was darkness. In that darkness, we built a gateway so that we could enter and lay the seeds of a new universe. Your universe. Our offspring called this gateway the monolith and worshipped it as their creator. In time, our children forgot about us, but we did not forget about them.
So it's like a telekinesis, like telepathic communication type of thing,
Did not forget about you, Pilgrim.
where this kind of artifact is talking to me.
Oh, I thought I lost you. You were totally out for the count. Scanning for source of rogue transmission. It must be the remnants of some crazy's data log transmitting from one of the wrecks. Scavenger, I'm updating navigation waypoint subsystems. Destination, monolith.
Okay, let's go forward.
Okay, we're gonna need to get ourselves across these asteroids. Activating quadrupedal jump motors. Look at the location you want to jump to, and hold down L2 to engage jump systems. If we can jump there, you'll
Yeah,
see a green
so-
arrow.
The movement in this game is quite intensive, so you can see you can jump, and you can actually jump while you're in there to the next one.
Let's look for a sheltered route through this storm. I don't want to join the rest of this space junk. Located data capsule. It's still active. Download data by attaching the energy grapple. Data capsule. Midian crews reported an energy source emanating from the monolith at the heart of the Forbidden
This is
Belt.
why this game got complained about.
Absence of any clearer data, I'd say that's where we start searching for our artifact.
Like motion sickness, because it is
Spectroscopic
very
readings
much
indicate an
a
alien
motion
life form present. What could
intensive
possibly
game.
exist out here?
So if you're not used to it, you know, it might make you a little bit motion sickness. It's just a matter of getting used to it, and you do get used to it. It's only a matter of and the shooting where you look mechanic is pretty cool, because you get to shoot where you look.
Sensors detect a powerful energy source emitting from that crystal entity. Drain it with the energy grapple, and I think I can use it to briefly supercharge our weaponry. Reading life forms. They're all around us. Trying to get a fix on their location. microscopic scan data. Midian scientific records suggest these life forms are in their second larval stage. Observations show swarming behavior along with an explosive volatility on physical contact. It's nothing we can't handle. Prepare yourself!
This is where the shooting comes in.
Weapons overheated!
And it's really helpful because you can actually jump in midair and kind of turn around, or jump over like creatures like that. And it gives you sort of a chance to
How does life survive in such a hostile place?
kind of get a little bit more ground in case being overwhelmed by enemies. And it works out quite well. And you do get used to...
Huge moving outside this cavern.
You get used to kind of fighting enemies like these guys.
Hostiles! Get ready! Weapon systems at 200%! Supercharging weapons!
It's pretty cool, this game. I like how you can just aim to shoot. Makes for a pretty enjoyable kind of experience.
Shoot it.
And you do get you get used to the movement in this game. It is a bit different in VR because obviously if you're not used to movement in VR, it might be a bit overwhelming. But you get used to it. And once you're used to it, I mean, this doesn't make me motion sick at all at the moment, and I can move all around the place. And you can jump all around the place.
Threat exterminated.
It's a good way of avoiding things, and you can also jump to save time.
We got company.
So you do get used to the controls in this, and you get used to the motion too. And it's actually, Scavengers Odyssey, this one is like one of the few games I've played that actually feels like a normal game that's just been put in VR. It just feels really satisfying.
Target acquired.
Really satisfying to play.
Biosensors are detecting there's something large out there.
And there's a lot of platforming like this, jumping through space and everything, and yeah. So it's a pretty interesting game. I think this is a pretty good place to leave it, since now it sort of gets more into a little bit more deeper into what's going on, and you're kind of following a path. So I think we'll leave it there. That was Scavengers Odyssey. I really enjoyed this game. It's pretty good. It's a couple of hour kind of experience, but it's well worth playing. I really enjoyed playing it when I first played it, and I would absolutely play it again down the track as well. So it's overall pretty cool. So that was Scavengers Odyssey. So, I only played a small portion of this game, as I didn't want to spoil the story too much. Now, it does have a story, and I actually quite like the story. I know a lot of people didn't really think much of this game, or didn't like the story, or just didn't like the fact that it is a very motion-intense game. I mean, your controls, you can move forward and back, and you can turn left and right, you can jump, you can look around to fire, and of course you've got like a boost mode, so you can like run in the Mac as well. So there are a lot of controls, and being it's VR, a lot of people get motion sickness when the movement is very intense. Now, I can see why a game like this could cause some motion sickness, so this is probably the least new VR user-friendly on that VR Worlds disc. So this is definitely the last thing to try, as it is very motion-intensive, and even after trying all the games on this, Scavengers Odyssey might still be too intense, and that's understandable. So, you know, play a bunch of other stuff and come back to it. It's one of those games that I feel is worth playing. I know a lot of people didn't like it. I'm not sure exactly why. The biggest reasons I like it, first off, I did like the kind of story. It was an interesting kind of start to a story. Obviously, it's not complete, being the game's like under 2 hours in length, so it's not necessarily a very long story, a very deep story or anything, but it's interesting. It would be nice to get like a full game of Scavengers Odyssey, something that's a bit more like fleshed out, something a bit more story in it. Be pretty cool, especially the backstory. You know, if there's any backstory to this artifact or different races that live in this kind of universe, it might be kind of interesting. The biggest probably reason I like this game, other than had a little bit of an interesting story, is the fact that it's more like a normal game, just in VR. So, for instance, like most VR games are trying to, have a different movement system, or trying something different, or doing something unique that may work for VR but might not work for like a normal game. Scavengers Odyssey reminds me of just being a normal game, but in VR, because of course you have the freedom of movement. You can move left and right, you can turn left and right, you can jump, you can go fast, you can aim with your head and shoot the guns. You basically have a bit of freedom in terms of your movement, which most VR games are either on rails, or they're in some other mechanic, or you move slightly, or you teleport to somewhere, and I actually quite like this because it's just like almost a normal game. And the premise of having just like a normal game in VR would be amazing. Like just, like even a full first-person shooter. I want a full first-person shooter in VR. That would be amazing. Like, the people that can't stand it, you'll get used to it. So, don't worry about too much about it. This game, I feel like you can't recommend to new users. Definitely not. New users will struggle with this game because it's so intense movement. If you're into VR and you've done a lot of VR and you're quite comfortable with it, really motion-heavy games don't affect you, then you probably won't have a problem with this game. You'll probably play it all the way through and, have no problem. Those of you who... You see, the thing is with this game is that the story, it's like a start of a story, really. It doesn't really finalize anything by the end of this short experience, because that's just what it is. It's a short experience. It is probably one of the longer experiences on the VR Worlds disc, but it is a short experience, and so it's a start of a story. And while I found the story interesting, most people want something a bit more, and it's not going to be enough to appease most people. But I found it interesting, the fact that they did give you freedom, and they did give you a bit of a story that was interesting, that, made you move forward into this world, and I liked it. I enjoyed this game, and I just felt that this was closer to more of a traditional game than most VR games are, and that's why I think I really enjoyed it, because most VR games are they're trying to do something different. They're trying to do something that only maybe works just for VR, and that, of course, doesn't make people sick, which is a big thing they're making a combination for. But I really liked this game because it dared just to be a normal game in VR, and it just was fast motion. It's like, well, if you want to play this, get used to it. Get used to the movement. Get used to the controls. Get into it. And then, of course, by the time you are used to this game, and you are used to controlling the mech and moving around and maybe jumping in midair and then turning and jumping again and shooting, by the time you are used to it, straight away you're at the boss battle already and you're fighting the boss, and then once you've done the boss, you've done with the game. So it's like the game's over before you can really utilize what you've learned and you've actually got used to this game. So that's where, I understand that people might not enjoy this game. And also, it doesn't have really much replayability, because once you've played it once, I don't know if you really want to go back and play this. But for what it was, I enjoyed it, I liked it. This game and basically London Hearts were the two games that I think are the best games in the VR worlds, in terms of actual closest thing to games that have a bit of story in them. I enjoyed both of those. I enjoyed Scavengers Odyssey. Once you get used to it, I can say one thing. Once you get used to this game, you know, the movement doesn't bother you anymore. Like, I understand some people probably can't get used to this game. Like, I could completely see that someone starting this game, getting really motion sick, and then not being able to finish because they can't cope with it. I've read on forums and things about this game, and people saying that they played like 10 minutes of it, and they felt horrible, and they couldn't go back to it, or they played maybe 20 minutes or half an hour, and then they had to have a break and then go back to it, and it took them way longer to complete the game because they had to have so many breaks. The thing is with that, it's the same thing about, you know, just getting used to the game, getting used to VR in general. You'll get used to this. But I understand it's not very, like, new user friendly, so I understand why some of you might hate this game. But I still recommend to play it. Like, if you've got VR Worlds, and you've played the other games, and you're still new to VR, then probably hold off Scavengers Odyssey. Just play whatever else you got. If you got some other VR games, play them. If they're less intense or something, you know, get used to it, and then come back to Scavengers Odyssey when you're maybe got a lull or something like that. You've played all the other VR games. Come back and play Scavengers Odyssey. I think it's worth playing. I think it's good, and I really hope that they do like a full game, and continue that storyline. Maybe give us more information about the world or the aliens or something more deeper or fleshed out. I don't know, but I enjoyed it. I think it was a good game. I liked it. It could do a lot more with what it could do. They need to improve it. They definitely need to improve it, and there's things that need to improve. But I mean, hey, at least we had a body, right? We could look down and you could see your alien body. That was pretty cool. I liked that. And of course, when you move the sticks, he moved the kind of sticks in the cockpit, and you moved his little fingers did the thing. I love that. That was just such a nice little touch. And also when you lean, your arms kind of lean inside the cockpit. Little things like that in VR just sell it so much more. They just sell that experience so much more. So yeah, guys, that was Scavengers Odyssey. I enjoyed it. I know a lot of people didn't. So let me know what you think if you've played this game. And if you haven't, like I say, take it easy at first, but definitely play it. It is worth playing. It is worth having the experience, and it is one of the longer experiences that are on that disc. So make sure purchase worthwhile. So yeah, guys, that was Scavengers Odyssey. I'm Sharkie Gamer. Please like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. And don't forget to stay tuned for some more VR videos coming very soon. I'll be playing Until Dawn, and Battlezone, and Rigs, and many more VR games to come. Thanks for watching, guys.